Welcome students. Today we are going to learn Class 11 English, Unit 5 Prose, Convocation Address by Arinjar Annadurai. Before going to the lesson, we are going to discuss the role of the children in the house. There is a family of a father, a mother, and 2 children in the house. The father and mother work hard to earn money for their children. They don't take much money from their earning to lead a luxurious life themselves. Instead, they sacrifice their privilege to make comfort for their children. They provide food, shelter, and education for their children. When the children turn to be adults, what should the children do to their family? Can they avoid the responsibility to take care of the family? The obvious answer is no. Should they return money spent for their life to their parents? Again, the answer is no. Then, what should they do to their parents? They should love the parents just as they did to them. What should they do to provide good life for their children? To lead better life for their children, they should reproduce the duty of their parents. When you grow, your responsibilities also grow. The responsibility should be carried from one generation to another generation. Now, let's know something more about the writer of the prose, Dr. Arinjar Annadurai. We do not need much introduction about the writer because he is a well-known personality in Tamil Nadu. Kanjivaram Nadarajan Annadurai, popularly known as Perinjar Anna, meaning Great Wise Elder Brother. Annadurai is an Indian politician. He was prized as one of the greatest parliamentarians of his time by our former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. He served as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu from 1967 to 1969. He was a great writer and a great orator in Tamil and English. He published several novels, short stories, and plays incorporated with social and political themes. Anna's contribution to oratory and journalism are outstanding. He is an architect in eloquence. His constructive eloquence made people spellbound, produced laughter, and was unique in his own style. The prose we are going to learn is one of the best examples to depict his excellency in writing and eloquence. The prose we have in our book is an excerpt from the famous address delivered by Perinjar Anna at the Annamalai University on November 18, 1967 on the occasion of convocation. Let's understand in what situation the speech was delivered. We can understand from the title that it is a convocation address. Convocation refers to a ceremony held at a university or a college when students receive their degrees and the successful completion of a course. On such occasion, a renowned person is invited as a chief guest to deliver a speech for the inspiration, and the certificates is given by him. Here, the chief guest is Perinjar Anna. It is an inspirational speech ever for a graduate to work for the development of the society or country. Anna is the speaker on the stage. He addresses the graduates. They have completed a degree and are about to go to a job at any time in the near future. This situation is critical. It is needless to say that Anna is one of the greatest scholars of his own time. Everyone knows his eloquence. This prose piece proves that also. At the same time, people he addresses in this speech are also the scholars of the university. A sharp edge is needed in the address to imprint the message in the minds of the graduates. Let's see how Anna proves one of the greatest scholars of his own time by his speech. Without any further discussion, we go to the lesson now. First, he thanks the university. It conferred. Confer means granted a title or a right for the speaker. Confer the honor to address the graduates. He feels address the scholars of the university is such honor to him. He is so pleased to be present on the happy occasion, that is convocation. He wishes them all a bright and prosperous future. He admits that it is not an easy job to place guidelines before the graduates of the university. But the limitations gives a sense of relief to address because he states that he will not attempt to introduce new ideas for the graduates. He gives opinion on his speech. It is going to reiterate. Reiterate means say or do again. So he is going to repeat some of the cardinal principles enunciated. Enunciated means spoke clearly in the past by the scholars with annotations here and there on bringing the common man's view to the experts of the various fields.
Anna says it is the age of common man. His point of view matters. So he is going to represent his view. Anna knows that he is in front of the scholars of the university. There is no need to discuss about the subject or any theory.
But point of view matters for all the scholars of the university. This point is the center to unite all the scholars together. Systems and any school of thought such as philosophy or politics, ethics or economics are meant for the common man. Universities are repositories, which means storehouses of knowledge, and nursing ground for emissaries, which means deputies of thought, wisdom, and service. They have a prominent role to play in shaping every graduate. The prominence is growing every day. Individual gets themselves equipped for the task of bettering the society and inaugurated the era of democracy. Here he talks about the common man and the role of universities. Now let's learn what the scholars did during the monarchical or feudal days.
During the monarchical or feudal days, the scholars or the poets are trained by the universities. In those days, they were adorning the chambers of the kings and the queens.
They adorned the chambers of royalty and the gilded mansions of lords and nobles. Knowledge is not for the commonplace. It is very rare a common man to be involved as subject. The scholars didn't confront the common people, nor talks about their problem. The knowledge was secluded and it was purely for the kings and the chambers. They were there to weave the costly fabric and convert it into dazzling garments. Their positions were so much sophisticated in terms of facing common people. Ultimately, they were privileged, they were secluded, and the knowledge was confined in the chambers of the kings and the queens. The role of university has changed in the present situation. It isn't confined to the rulers.
It is no longer produce the scholars for the rulers. The focus of the university has changed. Earlier it focused for the rulers. Now it is enlarged. Look at the word enlarged. It is not changed. It is enlarged to accommodate the common people.
We need to make clear that there is no shift in the focus. It is the shift in the span of focus. Earlier, university produced scholars for the well-being of the rulers. The scholars focused only the rulers. Here, we must know that the span is extended to the common people after attaining the democracy. The focus does not remove the rulers. The focus extended to common people. In other words, all are equal. So, all are focused here. The span of focus represents equality among the people. Let's look at Anna's views what an institution must do for scholar. Trim and train, guide and lead him before being asked to do his duty as a citizen of a democracy. Fashion out of him an individual fitted and equipped for the task of making democracy fruitful and effective. Here, look at the various job the institution must do. It has to trim the unnecessary aspects of the knowledge. It has to train the good aspects of democracy. It has to guide and lead for better knowledge. So, it is to exercise his duty as a citizen of the democracy. So, the individual gets fitted and equipped for the task to make democracy fruitful and effective. Further, Anna quotes the words of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, our former president, to wind up the discussion regarding the role of university. It is in the universities that we can develop the true spirit of democracy, appreciation of others' point of view, and adjustment of differences through discussions. So, in the university, we can exercise the democratic way of living. The scholars are privileged to exercise their individual responsibility and judgment in the university. So, it's like a gymnasium or laboratory. They could experiment, they could analyze, they could adjust with others. There are many possibilities to exercise all the democratic way of living and come to the conclusion how to operate the democracy, how to live in the democracy, how to accept the differences. In the university, we need to know struggles of our past because the position we are now in the present situation, it is attained after sacrifice of many martyrs. So we have to remember all those things, and at the same time we have to look for the possibilities and opportunities in the present time to make a better democratic society and for its proper functioning.
Arjun Anna wished the graduates for a prosperous future. Now he points out everyone wants a decent life. Whether he is a graduate or no graduate, he wants a decent life. There is no doubt in this matter, there is no wrong in this matter. Regardless of our position, everyone needs a decent life. But it should not be restricted with the material development. It should be enlarged just like the university.
The focus of democracy has been enlarged to accommodate the common people in the span of its focus along with the rulers. The span of focus of the graduates should not be restricted with their material development. It should also enlarge.
He addresses that the university education is a privilege, so all the graduates are indebted for the society.
Let's learn from his words how the scholars are indeed indebted for the community. Most of the money needed for maintaining institutions of higher education come from the revenue was collected from the community through the state, and a good proportion of that revenue comes from the tillers and the toilers. Men who did not enjoy this privilege, men who willingly submit themselves to discomfort so that they can enable the next generation to lead a better life. Graduates, may I ask you, how are you going to repay? What is to be your contribution to the social chest on which you have drawn so largely? Unless you replenish it richly, coming generation will find only an empty coffer. Society contributes for the education of the graduates, which is largely paid as the various taxes by farmers and many other form of workers. Though they contribute for the privilege of the society, privilege for the graduates, privilege for the higher education, they do not enjoy such privileges themselves, and they push themselves hard to pave way for the next generation to lead a decent life. So they sacrifice a lot for the coming generations. He poses a question: How are you going to repay? How are the graduates going to repay for the tillers and the toilers? That is, what will be their contribution to the society, which largely contributed for their development of every graduate? What will happen if they stop payback for the society? So next generation will not be privileged unlike the present generation, that is, the graduates are sitting in front of him. He showcases the contribution of the graduates is very important for the development of the society and will cause privilege of the upcoming generation. Contribution is so important for the society. It is so necessary for the next generations also. If they are going to stop, the next generation will not enjoy such privileges. Here comes the question. How do the graduates pay back for the society? Should they give money back to the society and what they received for the graduation? Should they give money for the workers? Should they give money for the farmers? Actually, the outcome is expected from the graduates. It is not money expected from the graduates. The service is wanted from the graduates because the graduates he addresses are different departments of the university. They are going to hold different positions in the society. They are going to work in the different department of government service. They are going to face the farmers. They are going to face the workers. They are going to face everyone in their jobs. If the graduates do their service at the earnest, the development of the society will be easier. That is the real contribution anticipated from the graduate.
The more you study, the more responsibility grows. Here, the point should be insisted. Anna doesn't ask the graduate to sacrifice their life for the society. Each and every individual development is important for the society. At the same time, along with their personal improvement, they should work for the society.
Look at his words, how a changes may happen if the graduates give their 100% service in their jobs. In toning up society, in bringing light into the dark alleys, sunshine into dingy places, solace into afflicted, hope unto despondent, and a new life unto everyone. If they are going to give their service properly, a new life will emerge out of these graduates in the nearby future.
Anna predicts that what would be the response of the graduate if he is going to insist the service from the graduates for the society. Definitely, it would be cynical. He admits that what would be the difficulty of the graduate if they are going to face the masses. It is not as easy as it is spoken. It will be very difficult to handle their every situation.
Environment also has to pay way for the service. Many times, he says many times, the environment may affect their hope, disturb their determination. Every step they take might be a struggle in their service. He firmly again admitted that the environment may affect even the most and robust optimistic, who will be discouraged and forced to be an easy goer in the service. When he points out that only the continuous effort of human being has brought rich benefits on humanity, the ease we enjoy in the present situation are hard works of millions and millions of people in the past. In terms of any field, we enjoy so much luxuriousness in the present situation. They were very rare in the past, but millions and millions of people did their jobs properly. They invented many things. Now our life is very easier. Those jobs are not easy. The graduates must give their service at earnest so the next generation will prosper properly. He reminds our legacy from Purananuru. Even 2000 years ago, there were selfless spirit and courage of people, served society. They shared everything with their fellow men. because of such people existed 2000 years ago. That is in our land. So we can do the same for the next generation. We can do for the farmers, we can do for the workers, we can do for all the people. We can do our service so properly. So he remains our legacy in the past. Finally, he congratulated the graduates to march onwards and towards the land of happiness. Now, let's sum up what we have seen in this video so far. Anna states that he is going to reiterate the cardinal principles that were set earlier. This is the age of common man. He is the source of the democracy. So, he represents his point of view. Any school or thought is meant for him. Universities are the repositories of the knowledge, which means storehouses of knowledge. Graduates should be trained to be fit in the democracy. In the monarchical days, the scholars are trained by the universities to adorn the kings and the nobles. They were confined in the chambers of the kings and the nobles. They did not face any problem confronting the masses. In the present, graduates are trained not only for the rulers but also for the common people. Everyone wants the decent living. There is no wrong if the graduates are going to pursue it. But their span of focus should not be restricted with their material advancement. A good proportion of the revenues for the higher education comes from the common people. The graduates are indebted for them, so they should do their service for common people appropriately. He admits that it is not easy to do the service. The environment may affect them to go as easygoer in their service. But Anna states that the continuous efforts of human being made impact in the world and reminds that our legacy projected in Purananuru. 2000 years ago, our ancestors did service for their society and for the future generation. So, we live in comfort. We will carry such service to the next generation. I hope this address fits ever to convey how each one of us is indebted for the society. I think you have learned how we should work for all of us. Let's put our hands together and work for the humanity ever. Now, let's move to recollect the lesson we have discussed in the video by questions and answers. There are two types of questions given. First, match the glossaries with their similar meanings. There will be enough time given, so try to give the answers in the given time. Thereafter, the answers will be screened one by one. In the second part, there are short answer questions given. Again, there will be enough time given. So try to give answers in the given time. A model answers will be given to check with your answers safe.